The actual numbers for the impact on financial services industry and on human beings who are the victims of this is significantly larger.
The US, we hear from the FTC, lost over 10 billion to scams. I'm really keen just to get your initial perspective on the state of scams in the US, and how does that 10 billion kind of break down from your perspective?
First of all, we throw around big numbers, and the FTC's numbers is helpful for us to put into context. However, there's also the reality that something on the order of anywhere between 20 and 50% of the actual scams are actually reported by the people who are the victims of them. So I think the actual numbers for the impact on financial services industry and on human beings who are the victims of this is significantly larger. The terminology important that we use, and because it has a big impact in terms of the regulatory landscape and even just the language, which of scams versus fraud has been very important in the United States and North America because of the liability.
Is this authorized and unauthorized? Is that the right way to?
That's the way that we talk about it in order to distinguish between someone taking over your banking credentials, logging in from some other device, and then taking money out of your account using digital channels as an unauthorized payment for which the banks are, for the most part, liable for, and again, for the most part, will reimburse customers unless they can be shown to be grossly negligent with how they are handling their credentials. Scams and authorized, as you described, is a very different problem and a very different regulatory structure and liability, which again, we're seeing now several years worth of movement across the globe, both for how regulatory agencies are responding to this as a result of how much the fraudsters have turned their attention. We went on a generational journey starting in kind of the mid-90s through the mid-2000s, when the banks started experiencing losses from unauthorized payments via account takeover, as we call it, or ATO. We're at the beginning, at least in the United States here, I think, of another generational kind of 20-year shift in terms of all different kinds of investments that not only financial institutions, society is going to need to make in order to deal with this new type of a threat to the landscape of financial services. In the US, generally speaking, numbers are not easy to come by. There's a lot of work being done to classify and so on, but it's already 50%, if not more.
The needle's gradually moving.
Has already become authorized money movements, or authorized payments, if you will. And the problem is not only on banking movements, the problem is already with credit card payments as well. The problem is even bigger. I'm sure we're going to talk a little bit about mules and first party fraud, but that entire first party problem, if you will. Yeah. Who's the bad guy? Who's the good guy? Is it the good guy sending the money? Is it the bad guy telling them to send the money? Are we actually dealing with a good customer or not? And how do we treat this payment? Yeah. Because all of those malware and authentication and, again, 20-year worth of investments are no longer
not fit for purpose, right?
They're not fit for purpose.